love, man. Let's bring in our man, Anthony Slater. Anthony Slater got a hell of a gig. He gets to cover the most exciting team in basketball, and he gets to cover the Golden State Warriors. We welcome in Anthony Slater of The Athletic, picking up a little bit of work covering the Sacramento Kings. Anthony, just curious, what was your impressions last night watching this Sacramento Kings team against Portland?
Better than the Blazers. That was a bold take off game one. I like it. It was, it was a continuation of what you saw a little bit in the preseason. I like a lot of what they have offensively, and they just looked a bit more capable defensively last night. That wasn't some juggernaut, but, they had some stops, some nice stops, some highlight stops, particularly in the first half. And if they do that, they are in the play-in mix, I think. And, it's one game, but that's encouraging that you saw it.
And I want to make sure, KC, before you jump in here, Anthony knows we absolutely believe the Kings will be better than the Portland Trailblazers this year.
We've been calling this game for a couple weeks now, and it's just what's going to happen this season. Portland's done.
I feel like they're going to slip down a little bit. Maybe the Kings, maybe it's one game better, but I think they're better this year.
I'm with you, and that's more of an indictment on Portland than a Sacramento thing. But Lillard looked a little out of it last night, didn't he? Around, when you spend the summer flirting with the trade demand, and I know now he's saying I'm staying in Portland, but come on, we all know there was a lot of noise and thoughts coming from him this summer to maybe pull the plug there. What does that say about the situation there? And then he comes out and he's going to hit some of those threes that he didn't last night, but I just didn't like the way he looked. And then beyond that, what did they really do? Larry Nance, did you even notice Larry Nance in the game yesterday? And that was supposed to be their big offseason acquisition. I don't like. To me, they're definitely bumping down towards the play-in mix. And if you told me the Kings had a better record at the end of the season, that would not shock me.
Yeah. Anthony, you're going to be, kind of covering the Kings like we talked about a little bit. And, I'm sure you've, did a little more of a deep dive into them as of late. Did your perception about what this team is and what they could be change as you took a closer look? Because we talk about it all the time here on D-Lo and KC about how, the national media and look, Kings haven't done anything to warrant too much attention, but they have a different perception of what the Kings actually are. They're out here talking about, well, the Kings will turn this thing around if Buddy Hield and Marvin Bagley take off this year. And it's they're not even playing this year. What are you guys talking about? Have you changed your perception of how you view what this team could be after taking a little bit more of a deep dive?
Yeah, I think so. And even talking to some people around the situation, it sounds like you almost, I expected coming in this Luke Walton situation, I don't know how long he's going to last. There does seem to be a player belief in Luke Walton and even more of an organizational belief than maybe outside looking in you expected. And then you're you hear the stat of basically worst defense ever in the NBA last year. And then you start looking at the personnel now and you're there are some upgrades. Obviously you saw Davion Mitchell, even though he didn't have a great debut last night, he just does more stuff defensively. He bothers guys like Lillard and McCollum more. I like their big man situation now that they've kind of, washed away the Marvin Bagley situation. Tristan Thompson looks kind of lively off the bench. Watching Rashawn Holmes, I knew he was kind of an underrated player, but now that I'm watching him more, I'm he's really underrated. And then, Mo Harkless last night I thought was good defensively, and they got him really on a bargain in March. And I think little upgrades here and there. And then, Barnes has become an undervalued contract, which I was not expecting, but he's really kind of improved in a part of a career that guys don't usually improve at. So I think little marginal helpful stuff maybe people are missing. And if they're the 8th, 9th, 10th best team in the West, I do think they're in that range personally.
Anthony Slater of The Athletic with us here on D-Lo and Casey on ESPN 1320. You talked a little bit about defense right there. You wrote about it extensively. What do you want to? We saw kind of the tale of two halves against Portland. What was there something stood out okay, they really got to improve headed into this game against Utah, and then of course the one against Golden State.
They just try consistently. That's the big thing. It sounds so simple, but that is defense in the league. The two things that I'm dealing with it talking to the Warriors now as they try to kind of reform, and they were a top 5 defense last year. They got worse defensive personnel while improving their offense, and they're just Draymond Green particularly is saying if you just if you read the scouting report, absorb it, and then try hard on defense, even if you're not that physically capable of being a stopper, like that's enough in the league to like get enough stops to win games.
Mm-hmm.
And, you saw it last night. Like I thought they were flying around in the first half. Deflections. Rashawn Holmes is flying to the corner, and then Harrison Barnes is like rotating well. Like these guys aren't, they're not going to be all defensive players, but you're getting deflections, you're getting steals, you're forcing missed shots, and they Portland score 49 first half points.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can get that regularly, they're going to be a good offensive team.
Mm-hmm.
But then the second half, I thought Buddy Hield had a lot of breakdowns, and I know that's kind of been a normal story around Sacramento. And then I thought it was interesting late, Portland's coming back. Halliburton, I didn't think had a good game, and they brought Mitchell in with 4 minutes left. It's not like Mitchell, like I said, had been good, but I just like the attitude he gives them.
Mm-hmm.
And you're already seeing how much Luke Walton trusts him. To plug him in first game with 4 minutes left as you're losing the lead, I like what he just does attitude-wise for them.
Yeah. De'Aaron Fox, 27 points, 8 assists last night. I said on this show a couple days ago, maybe not 27, but 23 to 25 should just be what he gets in his sleep. That's not even like a super good game for De'Aaron Fox at this point in his career. And last night was kind of an example of that. Like, I didn't think he played great. His shooting wasn't great. He had some great moments and made some plays here and there. But do you think that he's at the point in his career where, you see it from superstars every night. Like, they're not always 13 of 18 from the field for 40. Sometimes they have rough shooting nights, but they find a way to get to, 25 to 27 points. Do you think that that's kind of where he's at in his career now as a scorer in this league?
Yeah, because he gets to the line a lot. And you saw it last night. Like you said, he wasn't, particularly the jump shot, which is always kind of shaky with him. He still can kind of force just that quick first step. Even guys like, they know they want to go under the screen. They know they don't want to let you get to the rim. It's just a deke to the left, and then he's going right. And he will go into guys. And could you guys tell the 10 pounds of muscle he added? He did look a little bit bigger.
Yeah, he did. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And, if he's willing to take that contact, I mean, I think he was 10th in the league in free throws last year, which I didn't even know until I started doing research. I was like, geez, that's pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's got to hit him better. I think he's a 70% free throw shooter. Covering Steph Curry or watching Lillard last night, like those guys live in the 80s, 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And that matters when you take that many free throws. But to your point, yeah, he is an elite level scorer that can get to that 23, 24, 25 even on a bad night because he can just kind of muscle his way to the line. And I like the way you see him chirping it with Lillard last night after a couple of fouls.
Yeah.
That's when we mentioned the attitude this team needs to have and Mitchell maybe helps them with, I like that from Fox last night. I thought he was going like, no, Lillard, you can't guard me. That type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it did feel like they went into Portland like, we should win this game. And that's good to see from their side.
Yeah.
Anthony Slater, man, we appreciate you so much for being with us. And I know you cover the Warriors too, so your allegiances need to be in Sacramento this weekend. We're fully expecting you to represent us well over at the Athletic and be firmly behind the Sacramento Kings. Glowing pieces on the way from the Athletic.
Glowing pieces will only come if glowing performances happen. I'm just going to write what happened.
Fair enough. So I expect the glowing pieces of all glowing pieces after the Kings win on Sunday. I'm calling it now.
Okay.
Hey, let me tell you, if this makes you feel any better, if the Kings win Sunday, I'm probably going to rip the Warriors. I mean, that's something.
Hey, we had you on talk about the Kings. Warriors looked really good against the Lakers. I actually went away from that game on opening night thinking both of those teams looked really, really good.
Well, I thought LeBron and AD looked really good. I'm not sure the Lakers, the Westbrook situation needs to be solved there, and I think it's going to take a while to solve that. But yeah, the Warriors had a really good preseason, undefeated. They just last year they had a lot of guys that didn't know how to play with Steph Curry. I mean, Kelly Oubre was like running into him off the ball, and like Bazemore was like going into traffic and trying to make plays. And that's just not how the Warriors play. Now they got Iguodala back, who obviously knows how to play with Steph. Bielitsa, who you guys know well, actually really does fit the Warriors system. He had a great game. I mean, I do talk to people who are like fool's gold, like,
When did you talk to me, Anthony? I don't remember this.
Yeah, right. But beyond that, I mean, Otto Porter, I think, is going to be a help. And then Jordan Poole's real. Like, this is
Yeah.
real. And the league, I don't think sensed it was coming, and then they started to in preseason. But there are people that are like, this is heading towards like the C.J. McCollum type player, and that changes the equation for the Warriors if they have that, and with Clay potentially will come back in about a month or 2 months or so. They're more dangerous, I think, than people think, and I think that was a taste of it on opening night.
Yeah, I'm with you, and always remember.
I want Iguodala.
There it is, Anthony Slater. We appreciate you, my man. Thanks for carving out a few minutes for us.
All right, fellas.